welcome everybody to the class and everything. Thank you for being here. My name is Lara Rhoades. I've been a realtor for 12 years and I'm with eXp Realty for those of you who may not be with eXp. And I want to thank you all for being here. So this is going to be a class. One of my passions is about trying to help new agents to get started in the business, but I also see this class as a way for even if you've been in the business for a while, maybe ways for you to think of other things that maybe come up for your sphere of influence. So this is a session more about, for me, it's about relationship-based business, not cold calling. That's how I've tried to build my business over the 12 years. And I will say that your SOI is your most stable and compliant lead source for agents. This is one to really try to work and stuff like that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of talk some about, what is SOI, understanding how it is one of the best ways to work your business in real estate, how to build that 100-person list for a minimum to start with. That's what everybody tells you to do. And everybody says, oh, I don't have 100, but you do. Creating simple monthly touch plans, tracking your SOI in a CRM. eXp just happens to offer Bold Trail, which used to be KB Core, Lofty, and then there's Close. Close, I believe, is more for teams, people who have a true team structure. I personally use Bold Trail, which used to be KB Core, and then talking about how to convert these referrals. So this is not going to be like a comprehensive relationship list. We're going to create a comprehensive relationship list. We are not creating a buyer's list. That is something I want you to make sure. I don't want you filtering out by who may buy or sell soon, or who you think can afford a home, or who you feel comfortable contacting. You want to just put these people on there, recognize that if you master your SOI, this is going to help you to determines whether you're going to succeed in the first year or not and beyond. All right, so why does SOI win? SOI is driven. It is critical in this market. It is a relationship-driven culture. This is where you want to develop those relationships. You want it to be authentic. It creates that high trust in your transactions when you're working with your clients. These are sometimes they can be longer decision cycles. You might work with some people for a while, and even someone who is referred to you or that you meet. And referrals do outperform paid leads, time over time for those who have paid for leads. As we're learning more and more in this business, and as the 12 years I've been in, clients value our knowledge, they value our trust, they value our knowledge over, our local knowledge over any kind of flashy marketing. Referrals are what convert at a higher rate and a lower cost, and it works in all market conditions. And I will say that my business last year, all but one sale, and that was a family one. Every other sale of mine was a repeat or referral client. So that's how all of my sales were last year, except for my personal family one. So I can honestly say that it does work, and I have noticed over the years that more of my business comes from the referral and from reaching out to my SOI and my past clients. So here's just some categories and some ideas for what is your SOI. So obviously, most of us, first thing we do is we start thinking about family and friends. Okay, family and friends is a great way to start with this. It could be your immediate family, your extended family. Think about your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. Even if they don't live in your particular area, remember, you can always build on referral business too, referring and finding, people who might be moving to this area, or you have people moving to maybe where some of your relatives live. In-laws, extended in-law families. Family friends you've known for years is another one. So who do you see at the holidays, reunions, or family events? Those are things to think about. Next is your family and your friends and your personal relationships. Who are your childhood friends that you're maybe still in contact with? College and high school friends, current close friends of friends you see regularly. Who do you invite to birthday dinners or celebrations or other types of events at your house? I know that one person on the audio call, she actually lives in a very cool location in downtown Leesburg, and she invites people to come to her house and watch the parades and stuff. I mean, that's a great way for her to have that connection and stuff and to offer something. So that's a really great way that Kim, I know, works her business. Work and professional connections. Think about past and present. Who have you worked with in the past 10 to 15 years? Because many of us I know maybe came into this business from another type of career. So who are your current coworkers if you're still working in an environment you're trying to transfer or trying to get yourself into real estate full time? Former coworkers or managers, people you've collaborated with on projects, business contacts from previous careers. Think about all those different people that you have worked with and think, I wish in some ways that back when I first started my career, that LinkedIn was around. What a great way to keep in touch with people, because for some of us that are older before all of this technology stuff, keeping in touch with people, you actually had to have the old kind of like Rolodex or address book with everybody's contact information. Think about your neighbors and communities. Who do you recognize on the street or in your building or in your neighborhood? Current neighbors, former neighbors of where you've lived. Are you involved in your HOA? Do you know some of the HOA board members or condo board members? People get together, regularly in your neighborhood. Some of the neighborhoods, I know the HOAs, they have a lot of events like movie nights and things of that nature. Those kind of things can help you to also get out there and meet people. Think about school, education, and activities. Now, this obviously, excuse me, let me take a sip of water. Who do you see at school events or extracurricular activities for those of you who have children in school? Think about their classmates, that could be high school, college, grad school, parents of your children's friends. You're seeing them a lot. Some of you, you're in those travel sports, so you've done a lot of that. Their coaches, their teachers, their tutors. And many of us know that there are great programs out there for first-time home buyers, for first responders, things of that nature. Are you involved in the PTA or the athletic boosters, any kind of school volunteering that you do? So think about those things. For those of us, there's also social, faith, and community-based groups, your church, synagogues, mosque or faith groups, small groups or committees, volunteer organizations, local clubs or networking groups. Who do you see consistently at these meetings or events? Service providers and local providers for businesses. Think about all the people who you trust services to. Hairstylist, your barber, your nail technician, your personal trainer, your doctor, dentist, chiropractor, any of those. Insurance agent, financial advisor, contractor, or tradespeople that we work with. That's also good to build that network too, so that you have that for your referrals to your clients, and also to build that, more trust with your SOI and doing recommendations. There's also social media. Many people are on social media. Who do you regularly engage with? Who are some past acquaintances that you still interact with? You might not see them, but maybe you're interacting with them because of social media. Local community group members, alumni group connections. That could also be, for many of you who also have your, if you were involved in a sorority or a fraternity, that's another great way. Who comments or reacts to your posts? Reach out to those people. So building your SOI list You can also, look here, look at your phone contacts, look at your email, look at your social media friends list, look who's following you, especially like on Instagram and things of that nature. Community lists. This is where we start looking at, like, when you're doing this, who's your holiday card list? If you are an experienced agent, who are some past clients that are in your database? Think right now, how many contacts do you think you have? And I know some of you are experienced agents that are on this, but some of you are newer. How many contacts do you think you have? Think about that for a moment. I think with all of this list, you could probably come up with at least 100, if not more. You want to think about building that strong foundational SOI list of 100 plus contacts. Look at your phone contact list. Do your mobile device to sync. Look at your email address book, personal and professional. Your social media connections, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Some of you might be on what used to be called Twitter, now it's X, maybe TikTok. Holiday card list, invitations that you get, community involvement members, schools, clubs, faith-based groups, sports, volunteering. Do not filter who you think will buy or sell soon. I can't emphasize that enough. And I know I was guilty of that when I got started. It's like, oh, I don't want to bother that person. Oh, I don't think they're going to want to. Your SOI is not about who's going to buy or sell. It's about those relationships. It's not a timeline. It's about building the authentic relationships. Now, for those of you, because I wanted to also hit, because I was, pretty sure that there would be some people on here who were more experienced agents, but how can you expand beyond that 100 contacts? And remember, same thing, we're not excluding people for not buying soon. We're not assuming people won't support you. You want to keep the list clean and accurate. That's another thing working in your database. And you want to try to add 5 to 10 contacts weekly, at least. And keep in mind, because I know some of you are going, I don't want to bother people. Think of it this way. You're not bothering them, you're informing them. You're not selling. It's about consistency over perfection. So once you reach the 100 contacts or more, start thinking about some other secondary categories. Looking at your past transactions and real estate touch points. If you have them, who are some past buyers or sellers? Renters you've worked with. Renters are going to eventually, more than likely, going to buy. I've had several that sometimes I put them in a rental for 2, maybe 5. Some of them have been 5, 6 years in the same rental. Now they're all starting to buy. Leads who you didn't transact yet. Open house visitors. For those of you who like to do open houses is a great way to get people. I had one time where a person came and they were actually there with another person, one of their friends. That friend did wind up buying, and she bought with me. It was someone I met at the open house. But this other person who came as her friend, she also signed it. And she told me that eventually she was looking to sell and then she was going to buy. Well, 2 years later, after me just keeping in general contact, giving information, things like that, 2 years later, she became a buy and a sell. And then just this past year, she was a repeat client when she sold and moved out of the area. So you see, it's just part of that keeping in touch with that SOI, with your repeat business. But that was someone that I met in an open house, and I actually tracked it. It was a little over 2 years from us doing the actual buy and sell during that time. But was it worth it keeping in touch with her for 2 years? Yes, very much so, because it wound up being a total of 4 transactions, because there was also a referral too, to where she was moving to. The other thing is referral partners. A lot of us know lenders. Sometimes there can be lenders that are just starting out. So they might, that might be another thing. Title professionals, home inspectors, appraisers that you might know, stagers, contractors, people of that. These are different ways. There's also more that you could probably think of. Your lifestyle-based groups. I know many of you are involved in gym classes, fitness classes. You have hobby groups. You maybe do golfing, golf, cycling, art, music. Um, uh, Frisbee golf, I think, is another one that someone on this call does. Sports leagues or teams. There's a lot of that out there. Then think about life events and transitions, wedding attendees, baby showers or family milestones, networking events that you go to, conferences or workshops. These are all different ways that you can expand beyond. And you can do this without being salesy. It's just building those relationships. Also, the biggest thing is how many of you, when you first got in, or if you're still new, have you changed your LinkedIn? Have you actually put out there that you're a real estate agent? Have you changed it to let them know? Have you made some kind of post about you being a real estate agent, or are you still being a secret agent? You'd be surprised sometimes. Think about this. How many of you have changed your Facebook profile picture? And maybe it's an older picture, because a lot of us, let's say like around Father's Day, Mother's Day, we change out photos. How many people start getting a lot of contacts about those photos, especially if it's a photo of you with one of your parents or something like that, or a really great picture of your parents? That creates that. So sometimes, like I said, just those little changes can sometimes help with that. And LinkedIn is a professional one. It's a little bit different than your Facebooks and your Instagrams, but it's still a way to build your business. So don't be a secret agent. All right. So what are some ways that we can trigger some and unlock some of these hidden contacts? Scroll through your old text messages. If you're like me, you probably have a lot of text messages in there that maybe you haven't, archived or whatever you need to do, that are just still going. And some of them you have multiple chains. Reviewing your email boxes and your sent folders. Who are some people that you talk to? And this is not just professional, but also your personal. Check your LinkedIn work history connections. That's another great way, especially if you're trying to build, like I know one of the things that I work on is building my network of agents across other areas of the country. So that's another way too. Maybe one of your friends or relatives or something, or past coworker could make an introduction to an agent that they really liked. Look through your past holiday card list. Look at the people who send you holiday cards. Review photo tags on social media. Who's tagging you in social media? Think about where you've lived in the past 10 years, maybe even 20 years, especially if you're still, in contact with your neighbors from there. Those are all different ways that you can unlock some different types of contacts. And that's what I think is important. Just remember, I don't want you to think of it as bothering people. I want you to think about it and reframe yourself and thinking of it as an outreach that you're trying to inform. You're not selling. You're trying to have that consistency over perfection. You're trying to develop authentic relationships. Be yourself. Check in with people. So what are some SOI rules? Again, everyone counts. Do not exclude people for not buying soon. Do not assume people won't support you. Don't make any of those assumptions. Keep the contact info clean and current. And what I mean by that is making sure that you're going in and you're checking all those things, making sure you're keeping it clean. Once you start getting a lot of names and stuff like that in there, the more that you keep that clean in the beginning, it's easier than having to do a cleanup day. And I know that there's probably some agents on here that have done a cleanup day or two in their database, or they spread it out over a week trying to do that. One of the other things is to add 5 to 10 new contacts weekly. That's at a minimum. Some of you might add more. This is where you're adding more people. And yes, if you are meeting vendors, you can put them into your CRM. Just mark them as part of your vendors. Have some kind of tagging. I know in Bold Trail, you can do hashtags. So I have hashtags and I have different categories for different things, but this is a way, because sometimes I might be sending something out to, let's say, my vendors. Maybe I'm having a vendor appreciation type of get together. This is something where I can send that out to them. Or like whenever I came to EXP a couple of years ago, I made an announcement to them, hey, this is my new information, and I'm now at EXP, so that they could update all the information. Think about, like I said, the tagging and the organizing immediately in your CRM. That is really important. If you're meeting someone at an open house, somehow tag it that it's an open house, that if you do not have an open house app, that automatically goes in. Put them in as an open house, do a hashtag is what I do with, like, I do like a OH for open house. I put the house number, like 123 Main Street, and then I put the date of that open house, because I think that that's really important, because I like to know, because, you know, when people ask you to track things, I actually had another agent ask me what my track record was with converting leads. And I was actually able to tell that other agent that I was hosting several of their open houses. I was honestly able to say my shortest time is 40 days from the time of meeting about 40 days from the time of meeting someone at an open house to the actual closing. The longest was the one that was a little over 2 years. It was like 2 years and a month and a couple of days. But I was able to actually know that data right off the top of my head. I didn't have to go look, because I've been tracking things like that when I've been tracking where my lead sources come from. And what, you know, when I have my transactions at the end of the year, looking back, who is this? I keep track of where these transactions come from. And just remember that consistency is what's going to win. So if you think about this, it's really important. It's just doing that consistently each day, at least Monday through Friday, if not 6 days. Some people do a 6-day week. Even if you just set aside 10, 15 minutes just to go into your database and check it and look into it and see what's happening in there. That's really important. All right. So many of you have heard a bunch of monthly touch plans. I believe Lars is still on this on our Zoom and everything, and Lars has taught us a lot of these things. There's also, you know, as different ways change and things like that, or just new ways of us doing things, you know, we have a lot of different ways. When you're thinking about these, you want to do some minimum touches. You want to send a value-based type of message. You know, when you think about that, you know, what's something of value that you send someone? Maybe it's something that you know that they would like. Maybe it's something that could help them to like move up or move down, whatever they need to do. Maybe it's just something local in the area. Maybe it's for your investor clients. Maybe there's something changing with some rentals and stuff. You want to get that information out to them. That's value. Or maybe you notice that the values in their area are going up more. Doing those personal check-ins. Sometimes it's just about, you know, just checking in. Hey, you know, I see that, you know, your child is doing da da da, or, you know, you guys recently, you know, added a furry friend to your house, or, you know, or just even if like something they have not been feeling well, or maybe something personal in their family with, you know, some illness, or maybe a wedding, or adding people. It's just those kind of personal check-ins. And sometimes it's just checking in to say, hey, we haven't talked in a while, Pamela. I would love to just, you know, maybe get together and just have some coffee or tea, you know, or just, you know, just chat, just to say hello. It's not even about the business. It's just having that relationship. You can do a market reminder. Like I said, you can do a real estate reminder with these touches. You know, your newsletter, if you do a newsletter, which is really great to do that. Things that are changing with some of the, you know, the things that might affect investors. People who, you know, might be looking to buy, you know, if you're having a buy sell type of seminar, whatever you might be doing, or if you're having some kind of shred or paper shred or electronics recycle event, what are some different things you could do? Also thinking about that social or community interaction. It can just be simple things. And remember, it doesn't have to be complicated. These touches do not have to be complicated. I think sometimes we get too much in our head. We want perfection and we want to make it complicated. Sometimes consistency is what matters more than the creativity. But kudos to those of you who have that mind that just automatically goes creative. I love that. I don't always have that. Sometimes mine's just not as creative. This could be simple text. It could be an email, handwritten notes. I don't know how many people love my handwritten notes. They love getting that. How many of you would rather get a handwritten note from someone special than, people who, just send you like all that junk mail trying to sell you, your car warranty or your home warranty or whatever the case is. I mean, think about it. I would much rather get a handwritten note from someone that just says, hey, I'm thinking about you, whatever the case might be. And also just your social engagements, actually not just liking all the posts, but actually really reading them, interacting in them, and maybe writing something more important, write something to that or whatever. Sharing it, especially, I know as agents, a lot of us, especially in our group with our FYR Partners group, we are so good about sharing other people's posts and everything about their listings, their open houses. We share about people joining, even if we've never met some of these people, we're still welcoming them into our community. That is one of the great things about our FYR Partners community. It's that support, even though we are in the virtual world. We do not have a brick and mortar office. So you want to it's about staying visible without being salesy. I don't know about you, but I'm not about being salesy. That's something that is just not for me. It's just more of a conversational type of outreach. Um, Giving some market updates like with your newsletter, but also have some fun things in there, things that are happening in your area. Even handwritten notes are also good to your vendors, by the way. You can also, if you're into video, you can do bomb personalized video messages. I know sometimes I just grab my phone and I hit record and I will do birthday messages to people, and send it through a text. It's not anything fancy. I might not look the best, but I am just letting them know that, hey, I'm thinking about this. But that is just me. Sometimes my hair is a bit windblown because I think about it while I'm out or whatever, but it's just that fun thing of just doing that for people. And like I said, doing the comments, the reactions, and DMing people for their work. The other thing you can think about too, to help you stay engaged, for some of you, you're really good with Canva. I know with EXP, we get Canva Pro. One of the things is, doing those market updates, creating those simple graphics. It's ways to help us really easily to do some quick message. Think about if you're really into stats and stuff, give those local market stats. You can get them from your MLS or the brokers provided, or sometimes your local associations have them too. Any kind of home ownerships and seasonal reminders. This past storm that just went across most of the country, great time to be reminding people about all the important things to do around their gas meters and their pipes and, checking on things. And we also, as agents, had to think about our vacant listings if the clients were not still in the area. Those are all kinds of things that we have to think about. Those are all kind of good things to give people. And again, think about community highlights, local businesses. Where are some places that you go? Maybe it was someone who gave you really good service. The food was really good. Some kind of event going on. Think about that. Provide that value first. Real estate minders, to me, should be helpful, not promotional. To me, it's all about building relationships. I don't want to come across as salesy. That is me. So again, natural conversations. Make this about conversational. Communicate confidently, naturally. Make it your own. Scripts are great and they are a way for you to get some words, but make those words your own. You can't, just because one person can do it this one way, does not mean that you are going to do it the exact same way, because it's not going to be natural. It's not how you speak. It's not how you interact. You know, there's that just checking in type of language. Market updates, which is explanational. So those, you know, we're being a little bit more professional. You know, coming up, I know the local association here is going to be having the economic summit. It's going to be a great time. That's always a great time to have a lot of information, and it gives you things to be sending out through social media and to your clients and stuff to talk about what's going on and what you learn. Thinking about the referral kind of, you know, referral ask frameworks. For me, I like it to be more natural and not kind of a forced type of thing. I want it to be more relationship. And then thinking about your post-transaction gratitude scripts. You know, a lot of people sometimes we keep kind of in touch, but you know, doing that extra to make sure that you're doing that so that your clients do feel appreciated. Because you got to remember, this is a big purchase for them. This is one of the biggest purchases that they do in their life. So again, keep it conversational, not scripted. Lead with service. Ask, don't push, and be consistent. Remember, scripts are your frameworks. They're your guidelines, not memorization tools. Authentic delivery builds trust while maintaining your professionalism. So what's a sample script? So you can start off with, I wanted to let you know I'm officially in real estate. And then kind of tell them whatever it might be. I'm excited and learning every day. If you ever have questions about the market or need a resource, I'm happy to help. Or however it's going to be worded for you. Think about how you would want to be approached. That's how sometimes I do. I'm like, okay, if someone was changing businesses, because I know a lot of us, we've met people who have gone into different businesses and they've reached out to us. I don't want to be sold to. It's probably why I don't like going car shopping, because I feel like they're just trying to get me to the yes. And I'm sure that there are other people who feel the same way. You want to personalize your message. You don't want to have that pressure. No sales pitch, just kind of bringing awareness and availability, letting people know. And sometimes that can be as simple as updating your social media. You will get people who will notice that you have all of a sudden you've changed you've changed a job title, or you've added an extra job title if you're still kind of, working two careers, you're a dual career agent. And there are many people who do that. And I was one of them. I was dual career for a bit. So it can be done. It's just a different way that you have to balance your time and your energy. All right. So thinking about your CRM, again, as any broker, coach, mentor is going to tell you, your CRM is only as good as the information that you put into it. Think about that. How many times have we as agents gone into the MLS and there's not a lot of information, there's information missing or inaccurate information we notice? It's the same thing. Data is only as good as the information that's put into it. And I'm going to say this, your memory is not a system. It is not an MRI. It is not a CRM. It is not. It is your memory is going to not hold everything. If it's not in your CRM, it doesn't exist. Set a goal, and this is kind of easy. Just set a goal to spend 10 minutes, just 10 minutes daily updating your CRM. Get an old-fashioned kitchen timer. Put your phone away, turn it over. Don't use your phone one. Just get it like a little timer for 10 minutes. You'd be surprised how sometimes that little kitchen timer or a little digital timer, you put that on and just set it for 10, 30 minutes, how much work you can get done. You want to tag all your SOI contacts. You want to tag them as SOI. Hashtags is what I use in KV Core or Bold Trail, sorry. You want to, assign a SOI type of smart campaign. You want to log conversations. There in Bold Trail and in many, there are where you can log notes. You can actually put notes about what you spoke about, what you're going to follow up with, what did you send them? Especially if you mailed something out. Maybe it was a quick like they're wanting their home value. Set reminders to follow up. That's one of the things I think that most people, and I know in the beginning I was not as consistent with, was putting in follow-up tasks or follow-up reminders, especially if I wanted to adjust something if I had a campaign going. And then once I didn't have a campaign going, keeping those follow-ups and making sure that I was putting in follow-ups of what I was going to do. Like if I sent something out of value, following up to see if they received it and if they had any questions. I usually gave it a little bit of time in case they reached out. You want, and like I said, be consistent with your tagging and tracking. Google Contacts is another way to do things too. You can do an initial list cleanup in your Google Contacts and then sync it up into your CRM. Spreadsheets are great if that's what you use. Most people find that using Google Sheets or Google or Excel or something like that is not going to work long term because it's harder to keep that history with those as much. Like if you get into a CRM, you're going to see how you can see all of the notes and what's been going. Like you can see several years worth of information. All right. How are we doing on time? Okay. So one of the things is referral basis. So here's some things about referrals. As I said, my business last year in 2025, all of my business was referral or repeat business, except for the one that was a family. You want to turn these relationships that you're building into repeat and referral business. This is where going through annually and doing kind of an SOI review and cleanup is really important. Some people kind of do it towards the end of the year. They find that sometimes is a good time to doing. Think about doing some quarterly personal check-ins with your SOI. As post closing follow-up plans. I'm still trying to tweak and develop my post follow-up better because I think that there's room for improvement when I was looking there. Getting reviews and testimonial requests. I think that's a hard one for a lot of people. I think a lot of times we forget to ask or to send the links to ask them to do that. That is something, and I know I am guilty of that. So I'm not saying anything to anybody else. I am just as guilty of that. That is one of the things that is on my checklist now that I developed for doing that. Also doing, there's several people on here that you do client appreciation events. Remember, even small, simple ones can work well too. So I know some agents who do a little bit more small, intimate little gatherings with a small group of clients, a couple of different times throughout the year than versus doing a big event. That's what they prefer. They make it more intimate. And how these referrals actually happen is that you remember, people recommend agents who they remember. So a lot of mine, like whenever, I'm referred to people, they're connecting me and I'm very appreciative. So I thank the person who did it, who gave it to me. And I am very thankful for those people who have referred me to their friends or family or whoever it might be. It's that consistency with those relationship building, being consistent, the contact, it builds kind of that top of mind awareness. And that's the big thing. Because remember, with social media and everything else now, most people have a very short attention span. The fact that you guys have been on here very long and haven't run away, thank you. But the thing is that, there's studies out there that where humans don't even have the attention span of a goldfish. And goldfish basically have, I think it's like an 8 or 9 second attention span. So we're even, we're worse than a goldfish. But remember, clear communication builds that confidence, and asking at the right time matters. Sometimes it might just not be a good time, but referrals are a byproduct of your consistency. Agents don't get lucky. They stay visible and valuable. Referrals happen when people remember you and trust you, not when you pressure them. That's the key thing. So when you're asking for referrals, it's as simple as, if you know anyone thinking of buying or selling, I'd be grateful for the introduction. Many of us have little taglines like that in our emails, on our business cards. Just think of it this way. You want to do this with confidence, not with pressure. People want to help when they're asked appropriately. And I think most of you would agree to that. If you're asked in a way when people need help, you're more than likely to do it than if they ask more of like a demand, or it's not coming from being authentic. I think it's more important about being relationship versus transactional. I think that's really key. And I think that's something to me that has helped me, because I want to be relationship. I don't want to be transactional. So what are your next steps? So whether you are an experienced agent or a new or newer agent, can you also, if you're an experienced agent, build to your SOI list? Yes, you can. Think about some of these things. Look back at, maybe you've missed some people. So for those of you that are new, I want you to build your 100-person SOI list. Tag them as SOI in your CRM, whatever it might be. Use the hashtags, however it lets you do it. For those of you that are new or newer, and especially if you have not done this, send your first announcement message, especially the fact that you're an agent. Give them your contact information. Tell them how you're excited, what you're trying to do. Maybe, I don't know, be bold. You don't have to get into like all the specific goals, but tell them that, you're trying to do this. You're also, maybe you're trying to build your network across the country of other agents for people who are moving back and forth, from different areas. Schedule weekly time for the SOI time on your calendar. Schedule this, even if you just do 10 minutes a day, just to kind of clean up your SOI. Remember that your SOI and your whole CRM, it's a living database. It's not a one-time task. This is living. Think of it, might not be breathing because it's artificial, but it is a living type of being. It's a database. You need to add contacts weekly, review and update monthly, remove duplicates annually. Sometimes I do that quarterly because duplicates drive me crazy. That's just me. It's just my A-type personality. And make sure you're deepening your relationships intentionally. People can recognize authenticity. They can recognize when you're being genuine. Make sure you're doing that. And I strongly encourage you, while you're maybe motivated, and many of us are stuck at home because the roads aren't that great in many areas, work on this in the next 48 hours while your motivation is maybe higher. Think about that. And then let's talk about accountability and execution, because many of us, that's the biggest thing. We talk about what we're going to do, but we don't do it. So here's the thing. You want to create habits that are going to drive results. We're all in this. We don't want to just do this as like a hobby. Make sure you're setting aside weekly SOI time blocking, a minimum of 2 to 3 hours per week. That's it. I know some people will tell you to do it every day. Think of it as 2 or 3 hours per week, what you can fit in. Make sure you are doing monthly SOI activity tracking. If you need it, get a mentor or an accountability partner to do check-ins. Think about it. How many of you have a buddy that maybe you go to the gym with and you're supposed to meet them at the gym or an exercise class and you don't feel like getting up or meeting them that day, but they're counting on you to be there? You're more than likely to get up, aren't you? Set 30, 60, 90-day SOI goals. Your SOI is a long-term strategy. It compounds over time. Your results are going to come from your execution. It's not just a one-time thing like, oh, I tried it, it didn't work. You have to be consistent and you have to keep going. Some days are going to work well, some days are not. Just remember to keep being consistent. And remember, your SOI is not optional. It is foundational to your business. It is the most valuable long-term business asset. If nurtured consistently, it's going to give you lower marketing costs. It's going to increase your referral volume. It'll build trust and credibility, and it will help you to create a sustainable career. Successful careers are built on relationships, not on transactions. So that is all that I have. Are there any questions or comments?
Fantastic.
Thank you. Who is that?
PK.
I love PK. Thank you. Anyways, but I want to thank everyone for being here. I did keep it under the hour. I do have two, I have a Sphere of Influence SOI checklist. That's like a one-page document that talks about building your list, organizing it and activating it. And I also have a 12-month SOI growth plan. That's a two-page document, a PDF. You're more than welcome to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to email those to you if you want them. I think it will be really helpful, and I know that when I was preparing for the class and everything, it started making me think like, maybe I need to go back and do some of these things. But I do want to thank everybody for getting here, especially on this cold day when maybe you could be sleeping in or snuggling up with a warm blanket and some hot cocoa or something and everything. So if there's no any questions,
Lara,
yes.
Lara, let me, it's Roger.